So as you're looking over these cars, you're probably taking a look at 2 or 3 of these castings and thinking to yourself, if I could only pick one car to represent that decade from Fast and Furious, that's definitely not the car I would pick. And I could probably agree with that, you know. But to each their own, and this is what we ended up with. I will say that overall, for what it is, this set is actually pretty nice. And the ones that maybe aren't as popular as the others have at least got some good treatment from this new, what we're calling Silver Series, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at each one of these. We're going to unbox them. There are a few hidden gems here, and there's one that's actually a little bit disappointing to me, and it's probably not the one that you are going to think. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to let me know in the comments below as we go through which one's your favorite casting, and is there a car here that you just really wish they would have included, you know? So let's get started with number 1 here, 67 El Camino. If you're not familiar with this one is from Fast X. A lot of people look at this stuff all over it and they've not seen the movie. And to be honest with you, I've not finished the movie yet. And I kind of had to look up this car. But a lot of people think that this is like rocket boosters or something on this car. But it's not. These are actually cannons. So this is kind of like a self-defense type deal. And we'll go ahead and zoom in here, try to take a little bit of a closer look at this car. I will say, even before I opened this, as I was taking a closer look at it, this is like a flat or a matte black. The paint on this looks really good. This cannon setup, while it doesn't really look good, like, you know, if you didn't know these were cannons, I don't know what you would think this is. But this thing is huge, and there's a lot of detail on it. So, I don't know. Like, I've kind of got mixed feelings about it. Overall, it is pretty cool, like with the roll cage and everything. So I guess I could maybe get into that. It just, I guess, is what it is. But obviously, this is going to be able to pop off here. And what you're going to be left with is actually a super nice casting, I think. Really digging this paint. And, you know, this is probably a good year for the El Camino. Have that 67 Chevelle front end. Absolutely love that. You do have these new wheels for the Silver Series here that are kind of like a premium wheel. They're not real riders, but they're a little bit more premium than what you would get on like a mainline, so to speak. Have a gray interior that looks pretty decent. And I'm sorry the camera's having a hard time focusing. I think it's the color scheme against everything else here. But overall, like I said, really nice casting. Super happy to have that. And I don't know, it's a totally different looking car without this roll cage and stuff on it, but definitely a nice pick up there. If you're an El Camino fan, buy it, open it, take this thing off there, right? And you can always resell it if you want to. There's definitely ways to do that. But overall, really nice casting. Number 2, 70 Chevrolet Nova SS. Pretty nice casting here. We've had this one specifically, I think, a couple of times already. Sometimes I do get this mixed up because we had a Nova that looks pretty similar. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. I think this is one that definitely benefits from the new treatment as well. This paint seems to be a little bit better than what I've seen on previous versions. Of course, we have the racing stripes here. Front end looks really nice. Quite a bit of detail there. I think these wheels go pretty well. Definitely, again, probably not what I would have put on here. But, you know, I'm kind of old school and vanilla with my muscle cars. Put me some 5 spokes on there, and I'm kind of good to go for the most part. I think these are decent. I like this treatment they do with the blacked out middle and the chrome around the edges or the different colored paint. So not bad. Rear end looks good there. Obviously, this is just kind of an iconic car. The body lines kind of speaks for itself. Would love to have seen this in red, I think, right? We could do a red one with black racing stripes and still be in there, right? That was on the, at least the end of one of them. So I think I would prefer that to the silver, but overall not a bad casting and definitely an upgrade in this series. Buick Grand National, going to be representing the 80s here. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about this car. Let's go over the good first and then we'll go over the bad. I like the paint. I could have went with just a regular black paint, but there is some metal flake in here. It looks pretty good. Wheels, I think, look really good on this car as well. Rear end looks spectacular. I mean, that looks like a real car right there. Absolutely love that. Think they did a great job. Interior, not a lot to it, but it looks okay. Front end, it definitely leaves a little bit to be desired, I think. Although the grille and the headlights look okay. But if you look at the side profile here especially, just this whole hood, front end area, and the hood scoop, It just looks kind of misshapen and out of proportion to me, right? So I've kind of went back and forth on this. I was excited when I first looked at this and thought, hey, that's an opening hood. That's awesome. That's really good. And then I got to looking and I'm like, it's like a front opening hood. So that's weird, right? Well, if you actually take a look at it, the whole front end pops off, which is okay, I guess, kind of odd. But then you're left with this just, I don't know what to think about it. It's obviously a very upgraded, very modern engine. But I don't know, it's cool, but it would be a lot better if it was like something on an Elite 64 where there was more details and everything. And I guess you could always paint this up, but I just don't know how I feel about it. You know, it's like a cool idea, but the way they pulled it off is just kind of cheap. And to be honest with you, I think rather than having all that, I would have just rather had a good, proportional, decent-looking Grand National casting. But at least they tried, you know, and we already have decent-looking Grand National casting, so there you go. It is what it is, right? Number 4, Volkswagen Jetta Mark III. Of course, we had this recently in the 5-pack Premium. I have one of those. I actually have one of these from the old diorama set, so I have a few of these Jettas. I am excited to see it, though, because they have been hard to get, and I'm glad people are getting an opportunity to get these. I will say that this is a very nice casting for this set. It's definitely, obviously going to be a highlight, I think. You can see there's a little bit of a defect on this wheel here, but that's okay. Overall, I think these wheels are pretty decent on this car. I like it. Car feels really good. Looks good. I'm assuming this is pretty much the same body you get on the Premium. Front end details look really nice. Overall, just a super solid casting. Decals on the side look great. Rear end looks nice. I think if you're a Fast and Furious fan, you kind of know what to expect here. So definitely going to get that. Everything just, it looks decent. Very nicely painted. Can't see a lot on the inside. You can't see the roll cage there. So, like I said, definitely a highlight. I wouldn't be surprised if you're walking into your stores and like this is the only one missing maybe out of this set. Which is a shame because overall it is a pretty decent set, like I said. But that's definitely going to outshine the rest of it, I think, for most Fast and Furious fans. And rightfully so. It's a very nice casting. Number 5, Hummer H1. Representing, I'm assuming, the 2000s. Now, this is one, you know, that's definitely a peg warmer. I've already seen it. I've seen these sets wiped out, and this one just kind of stays behind. And I totally get that. You know, this isn't the type of vehicle most people think of when they think of Fast and Furious. I will say, however, if you're a Hummer fan, even if you're not really a Fast and Furious fan, this might be one that you want to pick up because this is just honestly a super nice casting. Very good representation of it here. You can see a lot of detail on the headlights and turn signals. Nice brush guard, pretty well done. The color looks great. The paint is like flat. I mean, you can even feel the difference in it. Just super nice. A great casting just to pick up and to hold, to feel. There's a lot of detail here, even though it looks plain. I think this is the first time that I've seen anything with the new Silver Series wheels that's in like an off-road. So these definitely look like a good off-road wheel. Interested to see what else they do with that. If they come up with some other off-road sets, what kind of wheels they'll have. You can see quite a bit of detail on the back end here. So, you know, nothing really different on the side. Overall, just, you know, I think this actually is the most surprising casting out of the set for me. I really didn't expect to care anything about it, but the more I've looked at it, and especially in opening it and just being able to go around it, this is just a great casting. Now, do I think that it's just a superb representation of the Fast and Furious series? No, probably not, but for the vehicle itself, it's great. And honestly, that's probably what I would say for this whole set. I really don't think that any of these are just a spectacular representation of Fast and Furious, other than the Jetta. I think the Jetta is the lone example in that. You know, that's probably something that when people see it, they think, oh yeah, Fast and Furious, I know where that's from. You see this car, that's probably not the first thing you think. You know, maybe some people. And this, you know, this is a car that's been featured a few times. But for the casting itself, very nice. Again, probably not something that you're just going to associate with Fast and Furious. You know, and even if it was in red, you probably wouldn't. You know, these are just colors that the Chevelles came in, or that you see them in commonly. So it's just like something you might see at a car show. Really nice casting. So super stoked to get it. Grand National, same thing. Probably not the first thing you think of when you look at Fast and Furious. I know, I'm becoming a broken record, right? You see what I'm getting at. With the decades of Fast, I didn't expect to see these so soon in my stores, but they've already almost kind of came and went. And at the same time, we've also got the Women of Fast set in some of the other stores that didn't pick these up. So it's almost like you're getting one or the other. And then, hey, I've had a store that's picked up the set from last year too. So it's just kind of a really weird time for Hot Wheels right now, which January and February usually are. But if you want this set, hopefully you've been able to pick it up. And if not, maybe you can pick up some of these castings in the future. And be on the lookout for the other Fast and Furious sets, because you know there's definitely going to be probably at least half a dozen come out this year, if not more. So I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoy the Fast and Furious cars, be sure to check out these videos up here. Try to bring you some more Fast and Furious content as we get it. If you're a Diecast fan in general, we have a lot of that too. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that content. Thanks for watching. Happy hunting, y'all.